It can be very hard to imagine a way forward during scary times, but My Neighbor Totoro reminds us that we can always find a light in the darkness. When faced with what feels like insurmountable odds, doubt can start to creep in about ourselves, about our abilities, and about our futures. My Neighbor Totoro provides a simultaneously whimsical and honest look at how we can keep hope in the dark times, and work on figuring out how to build a brighter tomorrow together.
Thank you!
My Neighbor Totoro finds sisters Satsuki and Mei moving into a new house with their father. Their mother has fallen ill, and so they've moved to be closer to the hospital she's staying at while she recovers. This isn't the first time their mother's illness has caused her to have to stay in the hospital, which leads to the girls having to deal with opposing feelings, believing that she'll be okay as she has been the times before, but also worried that this time will be different and worse.
This is just like last time. They said Mom just had a little cold, and she'd be home in a few days. What will we do if she dies?
Sasuke.
Maybe she's dead already.
Processing our feelings, especially as children, can be incredibly difficult, especially under these kinds of circumstances.
May, we just have to wait a little longer. No! You want her to die, May? Is that what you want? No!
On top of her concern for her mother, Satsuki is also upset by the fact that all of the adults around her seem to be lying to her, hiding the severity of the truth in order to shield her from it. They think that hiding things from her will make it easier for her to cope, but it actually just makes it more difficult for her because feeling like everyone is lying to her about something so serious only makes her feel like things are flying even more out of her control.
Did something happen to her, Dad? Do you think she's okay?
Let's not worry. I'll call the hospital and then I'll call you right back, okay?
Having to deal with things outside of our control can be difficult and even scary. In Satsuki, we can see how the pressure of that fear, if bottled up, can lead us to lashing out at those closest to us since we can't figure out how to go after the actual problem.
You're such a baby! Just grow up!
Mei, being the younger sibling, has to deal with a similar but separate issue, feeling like no one believes her because she's so young. When she first sees Totoro, she's convinced that no one believes her.
Quit laughing! I really did see Totoro! I'm not lying.
Because people often seem to be covering up truths or only providing partial information to her and her sister, on a subconscious level, she's come to feel like everyone else must also think that she's doing the same thing, even when she's telling the truth. In tandem to the girls' growing frustrations, however, we also see the importance of the community around them, big and small.
Mommy, do you like haunted houses?
Of course. I'll have to get better soon so I can meet some ghosts.
Their father does his best to keep them from despair, pointing out the positives when they come, and their granny is there for support too. We also see the more whimsical elements of their world come out to provide support as well. Totoro appears to them in their times of need to deliver some much-needed levity and joy. And even the tiny suit sprites play an important role, reminding the girls that magic and helpers can exist even in the darkness.
Normally you can't see soot gremlins, but every once in a while, when you go from a bright place to a dark one, you can catch a glimpse of them.
In My Neighbor Totoro, the suit sprites disappear after they decide that the family is nice, and so leave the home to them. We were given an even better understanding of the suit sprites when they appeared again in 2001's Spirited Away.
Don't need any help. The place is full of soot. I just cast a spell on them and I've got all the workers I need.
Here, we can see that even though they're small, they can have a big impact, and provide important assistance to Chihiro on her journey. A pervasive theme throughout the film is the fear of being abandoned. The girls' main initial worry is losing their mother.
May, the doctor said that Mom's not doing well, so she doesn't get to come home this weekend. No fair!
But their fear grows as they hit new obstacles and feel like they might be losing even more people they love. When their dad is late to pick them up, they fear that he'll never come, until Totoro appears and reminds them that not all is lost. And Satsuki has to deal with the fear of losing the person closest to her, her sister, when Mei runs away and cannot be found.
I shouldn't have yelled at her. This is all my fault.
When you feel like you've been abandoned, it can seem like the walls are closing in and you've run out of options. But thankfully, Satsuki remembers that she doesn't have to go through this scary time alone and turns to her community for help.
Let me in to see Totoro. May's lost. It's getting dark. and she's out there all alone. Please let me in to see him. It's an emergency.
The film doesn't shy away from the harsher parts of reality to sugarcoat things. In the same way that just because they're children, that doesn't mean that Satsuki and Mei aren't having their own full experiences of pain and fear. And that is integral to its true message, which is about how important it is to figure out how to confront that darkness and find a way to overcome it.
Everybody try laughing. Then whatever scares you will go away.
But Dad, I'm not scared. What? I'm not.
And importantly, the film makes it clear that this is a group effort, how we can find hope and courage not only within ourselves, but in those around us and even the world at large. Totoro isn't a magical wish-granting being. He doesn't swoop in and fix everything for the girls.
You must have met one of the spirits of the forest. That means you're a very lucky girl, but you can't always see the spirits. You can only see them when they want you to.
Instead, he brings them some levity and provides them with some new avenues for dealing with obstacles, reminding them that even though they can't always fix everything, looking at situations from new angles can make them a little less frightening and make it easier to figure out a solution, or if nothing else, at least find a moment of peace.
Everything must be okay. Yeah.
Real life doesn't always have a happy ending wrapped up in a neat bow, but we can take some important lessons from My Neighbor Totoro. The movie is interested in unpacking how important it is to feel your feelings, to let yourself feel them as they come, even if they're dark or negative, so that you can work your way through them. Our problems aren't childish, and we shouldn't be told to just suck it up and deal with it. The problems that affect us and the feelings that we have about them are real, and trying to sugarcoat it or pretend that we can easily get over it if we bottle things up will only make things worse.
The girls act so strong, but I think it's been harder than they let on. Especially Satsuki. She tries to act so adult.
Building up our bonds with those closest to us, the people who really care about us, can help us all find paths out of the darkest moments. Throughout the film, we see how hard it can be to work through difficult times together. Everyone is trying to protect everyone else's feelings while also barely being able to deal with their own. And this can create distance and even resentment. But even though we can't fix everything all at once, we can find bright moments along the way that steel us for the road ahead and keep us going.
They're growing! We did it! We did it! I thought it was a dream! We did it!
Even when the difficulties we're facing seem insurmountable and the odds stacked impossibly against us, we can work together to find solutions.
Oh, don't be sad. Granny's here to help.
The road ahead may not be easy, and we'll encounter obstacles that might seem impossible to overcome. But with our own courage and the strength of our community, we can overcome the challenges we face and begin working towards a better future.
I thought I saw Satsuki and Mei smiling at us from up in that tree.
It sounds crazy, but maybe you did. Look at this.
For Mommy.
That's the take. Click here to watch the video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.